Welcome to another episode of the It's a Mick podcast, where I, Megan, sit down with a couple of amazing ladies to dig up dirt on the Undead in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. For this episode, I've resurrected Casey, just Casey, as well as Ehlwyn, so we can sink our teeth into the episode called Death Knights, when evil leads with evil creeds and evil deeds on evil steeds.
Nailed it.
For this episode on the It's a Mimic channel, we are going to look at the tragedy and abilities of Death Knights, as well as dig into probably the most famous Death Knight of all D&D.
But first, before we get any further, I have a question. You two have famously finished an evil campaign where a paladin fell from grace at the end and became a Death Knight. Can you tell us all about the corruption and tragedy and how you felt about it?
I wouldn't call it an evil campaign. I think that's where I'm going to start. Because, we started off with, the best intentions in that campaign.
As most
did.
do.
Yeah. But, it was, and, we're going to talk about Cora, and I'm going to throw Akra's name in there a lot. So, Casey, you played Akra, I played Cora. But Cora was a paladin.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to tell a little bit about her story. I have talked about her on the podcast many, many times because she was a character they played for years with our group, specifically with our group, so it was very topical. But never really did a beginning to end of all the shit she went through to become what she became, right? Mm-hmm. So she was the epitome of a lawful good, lawful stupid at times paladin. She was thrown not only into a world where gods did not exist, but also where there was no sun or light. And to be clear, Cora was a paladin of Mimir who was the god of knowledge and light. So the fact that she was plunged into a world of darkness to begin with kind of detached her from her, entity and her conscience and who she was as a person. So that was the first shit. And I picked that without knowing what world we were going into. Mm-hmm. And so when Adam threw us into that world, I was like, you bitch. But her only shining light was that she did carry a sword with her that carried the spirit of her father. So she had a sword that basically would speak to her with her father's voice to be her clear conscience. But then there was a series of events that occurred that really painted the picture of Cora's great demise. There were many things that I'm going to share that kind of stand out, but obviously this was a fucking 3-year campaign over 5 years ago that it started. So there's a couple of blurred lines here. So the gist is that we were on a quest to stop the goddess of death from overtaking this world that was currently godless. Mm-hmm. That's the brass tacks of what we were trying to do. But obviously, this task is no easy plight for... Well, it actually kind of seemed like an easy task for a paladin of light. I'm going to destroy the darkness. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
However, right at the very beginning, I'm going to say that episode 2 or 3, my father's sword was destroyed. So I lost my good conscience.
Jesus.
Then the person that I started to fall in love with was killed by an undead beholder, which to paint that picture, we were in a tunnel system where healing magic did not work. So not only could I not heal him, I could not bring him back to life, and he was death raged. So he came back as a zombie, and I had to kill his zombie.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So just layering on the trauma.
Then I had to bring his bones up to the top, tell his best friend that he's dead.
Yeah.
And that was Akra. I had to be like, your best friend's dead.
Yeah.
Murdered in cold blood, and I couldn't heal him. And I think that was Akra and Cora's first fight.
Yeah. And I couldn't bring him back as undead.
Yep. Because it was a death ray. It was insta-kill, right? So that was my first fight with my best friend and lost the person that I was currently potentially falling in love with. I'm like, great. That's great. And again, that was Casey's character that had that fight. And then I would like to paint the picture of that is that we've talked about Akra before on the podcast. Akra is a black dragonborn necromancer.
Yeah.
So literally the opposite of Cora.
Yeah.
But somehow we just made it work.
Yeah. She cared about you guys, and she worshipped Tiamat. She was trying to build an army for Tiamat, and it wasn't going well because it was really actually hard to have undead in this world.
It was very hard to have undead. And I think there's a lot of nuances again because there's no gods in this world, and the goddess of death was hoarding undead. So anyways, there's a whole thing, and so Akra's goals weren't able to be met. My goals were not able to be met. So we were kind of just helping each other out for these mini goals as we go along. But we ultimately knew that our goals were different.
Yeah.
And that at some point we were going to have to kill each other.
Yeah.
We knew this.
Yeah.
And I think we even had a conversation about halfway through, a good year into it, being okay, is PvP okay? Because we knew there was going to come a point where we were going to have a fight.
Yeah.
So.
And it was ultimately which gods showed up and came through,
Yeah.
and who gained the power when,
Yeah.
and all of that.
Because that was the thing, was the ultimate goal was eventually, like, we're going to bring gods in to help us.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring our gods into this world. So your goal is to bring Tiamat in. My goal is to bring Mimir in, my god. And then have a battle against the goddess of death or the remnants of the goddess of death.
Yeah. And that is,
to overthrow and win.
Right, and that is why we agreed to disagree on the final game, but it was like...
Because we needed the power.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend scenario.
Because so I think in our heads, the end battle was going to be our gods fighting the goddess of death and the revenants, and then our gods were going to fight. It was kind of like, I think, how we thought it was going to go in the end, which is kind of what happened. But a couple of other fun things that happened here. At one point beforehand, I did end up calling my god into the world early. And he basically said, I'm sorry, but you just called me into a world where there's no sun.
Yeah.
I will die here if you leave me here. So my personal goal was actually now to find a way to get my god off the fucking plane, because I'm like, shit. I have now done goofed.
I done made a goof.
So then that was my secondary goal on top of all the other goals, was not only do I need him to help me with this fight, but also I need to find a way to get him out of this world, right? Yeah. At one point, I became possessed by an evil spirit and then got murdered, and I punched and killed a bunch of children in a church before my friend shot off my leg to wake me up, literally rolled a crit on a ranged attack that lopped off my leg.
Yeah. That happened.
As an apology to me, he made me tinkered me together a fake leg, prosthetic leg,
a peg leg,
a little and it was beautiful. It was well made, because he's like, I'm really sorry that I took your leg off, and like maybe this gorgeous, beautiful piece of artistry, and I still have never forgiven him since. That's Dan, by the way. But the killing of those children carried with her, because she killed children.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I couldn't remember what the trial was, but there was something that we had to do to be able to get out of a certain plane that we were in. And the only thing we could do was kill ourselves. And so what I ended up doing was trying to kill one person and send someone and then revive them and killed the same person again. So the sacrifice was made multiple times in an attempt to we had to make a sacrifice, remember?
Oh man. Okay, yeah, it's coming back to me.
Yeah, so Cora attempted to see if killing something to make the sacrifice and send someone, and then reviving them and doing it again to send a second person would work. And it didn't. It just sent you into a void somewhere. So eventually Cora figured it out and made the necessary sacrifices to get everyone off that plane. But not only did she now torture someone to death, but she also then had to murder a bunch of people to get people off this plane of existence. So
spiraling into the character development.
Big spiral.
Spiraling into the character development.
So after we also had a cleric join the party at one point and was all like, holier than thou, we're gonna save the world. And my character said, you need to sit the fuck down because shit's hard. Yeah. And we had a fight at the table because he's like, you're supposed to be the paladin of XYZ. You're supposed to be this good, like, happy-go-lucky, lawful good. I'm like, no, man. I've seen some shit. Yeah. Sit the fuck down. Build your church if you need to, but we're out of here. And that was like the steady demise. Like, and it was a slow roll. It was a slow grind.
Yeah, and our hands were forced so many times to, like, no matter what we did, we still released other horrible things into the world. And not the things we wanted. We couldn't contain things.
I mean, a small list is like the two main things that stuck out in my head was the fact that we released the Tarrasque upon the world.
Yeah.
And we had a timeline ticking for when it grew to the size it was supposed to be to destroy the world. And then we also cascaded a blood curse that killed all of the Kenkus, which put our beloved NPC at risk.
Yeah. Which ultimately died.
Yeah. We sent a city over a waterfall into nothingness. We destroyed a prison from the ground up in the first fucking episode. Like, we've done a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But at the end, during the final throes of battle against the revenants of the goddess of death, I did end up calling forth my god and sapped all of his power. Akra did a similar action. Lockie, the fucking Dan character, couldn't do that, but he got beefed up by something. He had the hags.
Yeah.
He had the hags, so he did get beefed up by things. Anyways, in the end, Cora ended up killing Akra by throwing a spear at her. because she was like floating in the air up above a platform. And then as soon as I realized what I had done, Cora like basically ran and jumped off the platform after and just like grabbed onto her, and they plummeted to their death. But as they were falling, Lockie fucking lobbed an arrow right through Cora's heart to kill her. Like, we just murdered each other.
Yeah.
Wow!
Well, because if I had killed Akra,
Yeah.
like, then he knew that I would descend into madness.
Yeah.
So he's just like, no, like, I need to save all of us by destroying both of them. And then, like, he ended up dying, and then, like, it was all of us died.
Yeah, and I was going to kill both you and Dan's character, Lockie.
And Dan knew that because he had half the Necronomicon that you needed, and to be able to get it from him, she needed to kill him by reading the book. Yeah. So it was just a long-winded way of saying we murdered each other in cold blood at the very end in a big battle. Did not reach our goal in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, epic tragedy.
But in her death, Cora is now a Death Knight in our new campaign.
Yeah, and Akra is a very powerful lich. And Dan is a vampire.
A vampire king of some kind somewhere. By the way, he got bit by a vampire at one point.
Yeah.
That was in there somewhere.
It's not about Lockie today.
For the first time, it's not about Lockie.
It was wild. It was a wild thing.
It was, and like it was one of those things where Adam knew that you were doing everything that you needed to do to eventually become a lich in the background.
I had like acquired the knowledge of knowing the list.
Yeah.
And so I was checking off the list.
Because you knew that you wanted to do that. Cora didn't know she was doing what she was doing. She just knew that she was descending into she kind of knew she was descending into a madness, but she still continued to think that she was doing what needed to be done. Yeah. Because she was lawful stupid.
And I didn't stop you.
No.
Because I saw you as something that, like, if you fully corrupt, then we will be powerful together. Yeah. But you just have to let go of your all good shit.
You gotta let go of that good shit, man. Like, and just, like, join me over here in the darkness.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? We're all mad now. So yeah, in our new campaign that we're playing in, all of those characters are the big bad evil guys.
The big bads.
That we are told we need to destroy.
Amazing.
However, we have the meta knowledge that those remaining characters are technically actually the ones that froze the goddess of death from coming through by basically saying, give us time to prove mankind is worthy.
Yes, right.
So we have
a redemption arc for them.
So we have that meta knowledge, but we know we're going to go and kill them.
Yeah. And, like, the time is ticking. We are down to, like, the wire on,
it really
on
is.
what things are happening.
So, anyways, a mighty we've webbed.
Yeah. Amazing.
Sorry, a web we've weaved.
We've webbed.
You know what? Canon. I'll take it. I like it a lot. All right, so that being said, you guys get to listen to my voice a little bit more because I'm going to go into the actual statistics and stats of what a Death Knight truly means. So what a Death Knight is in general is a Death Knight is a paladin that falls from the graces of their god without redemption or resolve for their deeds. And the pain and anguish of failure sparks them to turn their magic to darkness and evil and become an undead skeletal warrior. They gain eldritch power, which essentially means that they retain their abilities and can cast divine spells, but a Death Knight cannot heal with magic. So all 900 of Cora's healing spells mean nothing anymore, even though I didn't use them anyways. They also gain control and dominance over lesser undead and often have armies or minions that follow them around. And just to complete the look, they tend to have undead war horses, because why not complete the image?
Yeah.
Gotta go with that aesthetic.
Gotta have a horse, you know? They are considered to be immortal, but not until they are redeemed. They are considered to be immortal until they have been redeemed. So they can't die. They rejuvenate and can't die until they are absolved or give an atonement for all of their misdeeds by their god, basically. Stats wise, they are a healthy CR of 17 with an armored up AC of 20, an HP pool of around just over 200 on average, and a speed of 30. So they're kind of beefy motherfuckers. They have their lowest stat at Dex of 11, but their highs in strength and charisma at a +5 and a +4. So this very much reflects the fact that they're a paladin build. Yeah. They have a saving throw in Dex, Wisdom, and Charisma. They have immunities in necrotic and poison damage, as well as being exhausted, frightened, and poisoned. They speak Abysmal and Common. However, I don't know why it's not written in here, but I feel like they would speak the languages they knew in life.
Yeah.
I don't like every other fucking revenant, like all those things.
Yeah,
All
they
the
would.
undeads.
Could usually
most of the ones that have come back from
with an intelligence score, know what their languages were in life. It does not make sense. That's not written in the book. So I, as a DM, would say yes. You know all of them. They would know.
Right,
That
because
would make
they
sense.
know where they came from. They didn't.
Yeah.
They're not blank slate.
No.
Don't
Well, I
know,
mean,
so
prime example with Cora.
Yeah, man.
She retained all of her knowledge of her previous life. She came back as a Death Knight, but she retained all of her knowledge and things like that. So whatever languages Cora would have known, Common, Underdark, Deep Speech, whatever.
I don't remember.
She would know.
I'm gonna bet Elvish.
That's usually a common.
Yeah, I haven't looked at her character sheet in a hot minute, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
Elvish and Giant.
I was gonna say like
That's her current character.
you throw in like a random one. I took it as a understudy in university.
Love me some French. But yeah, so should you choose to fight one, here are the things to worry about. They have magic resistance, so they have advantage against magical saves when it comes to magic attacks. They have martial undead, which means that as long as they are not incapacitated, any other undead within 60 feet cannot be turned undead.
Ooh, 60 feet's a good distance, too.
That's a big radius.
They can't see my facial expression, but that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like shock and awe. People. Shock and
I literally
awe.
wrote, so fuck you, cleric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that is a big.
I'm gonna bank that information for when we have to fight Cora, because we're gonna fight her at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big radius.
All right. So they're also spellcasters, of course, because they're paladins. They are a level 19 spellcaster using charisma as their spell casting ability. Their spell save DC, for example, is 18 plus 10.
So you fucked.
She's gonna hit you.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hurt.
However, looking at their spell list, they don't have a lot of smites, even though they do come from being a paladin. But they do have a lot of spells like Command, Compelled Duel, Hold Person, and Banishment. So a lot of what I'm thinking is crowd control spells.
Yeah.
And command spells and things like that. So it's a lot of piss you off spells. As for smites, they do have two. They have Searing Smite and Staggering Smite. However, if in my mind, fuck you, Adam, but I think that if I was to build a Death Knight from a paladin that was playing in my campaign, I would give them all the smites they had. Because Cora had all of them.
Yeah.
It just carries over.
Yeah.
Why wipe the slate clean when it can just carry over? Yeah.
I wonder if it's because now those are the things that they're resistant or immune to.
Yeah.
A lot of what they are. And so, I don't know, maybe that plays into it a little bit. Because like the radiant and fire, well, I guess they had Searing Smite. Is Searing Smite fire? Seems like it.
Yeah, but like to your point, like
the necrotic poison.
Yeah. Would shift.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we've always talked about our podcast, and again, this is a homebrew rule, that if you're going to play an evil character who has spells that do radiant damage, you can switch that to necrotic. And if you have a person who does necrotic spells that wants a light spell, you can switch that to radiant.
Yeah.
Right.
To go with the theme of your character.
Like, I
we've
feel
done
like
that in our
makes sense.
campaign.
That would probably be an ideal place then to just tweak them based on her alignment and total being change.
Yeah, because and she also had she didn't use them, but she had a ton of healing spells, right?
So that would be
They're
necrotic.
negated. Yeah.
Or
Necrotic damage spells are
yeah. Or life suck.
Yeah.
Some of
Take your powers.
the higher levels, you pull life from you.
Yeah.
You pull and take life versus heal.
Yeah. For attacks, Death Knights can make 3 longsword attacks, which is a plus 11 to hit, and only a 1d8 of damage. But as we've mentioned in couple previous episodes, if you double hand that sucker, it is 1d10, which again doesn't sound that great, but you also get 4d8 of necrotic damage.
Yeah, and you can do that 3 times.
Yeah.
You can do it 3. Yeah.
So that's a shit ton of damage on one person in one round.
Gonna be a big ouchie.
Yeah.
And I imagine that it'll be a mix too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gonna. I feel like if I was to play a Death Knight and to use their combat tactics, which we'll talk about later, but I do feel like they would do multiple hits of different people if they can.
Absolutely.
They would just, they want the challenge of being able to watch you all die together.
Yes.
They're not going to whittle one of you down and then go to the next.
No, and that, like...
They know how healing works.
Spread the love.
Well, that's the thing. They know how healing works.
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, I'm going to fuck up your healer, and I'm going to hurt 3 of you this round.
Yes.
Good luck choosing who you heal, healer.
Yeah.
But-
and with that necrotic damage, too.
Yeah.
Then they're also probably going to go after, like your bards and your druids and things like that. Anybody that they know also has those healing spells.
Yeah.
Or the debuffing stuff.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
probably won't work anyway, but...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I know you, wizard.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking beat you up first.
Yeah.
Also, once per day, they can use what's called a Hellfire Orb.
Ooh, that
Love
sounds
it.
fun.
I literally said, which at first is like, what the fuck? It's Fireball. Except like on steroids. So you pick a point within 120 feet, and it's a 20-foot radius orb
Oh my god.
that hits down on that spot. It's a dex save of 18.
Okay.
So good luck, magic users.
Yeah.
And it's a 10d6 fire damage and 10d6 necrotic damage, so a total of 20d6. Oh, but it's halved on a save.
Okay, then it's fine.
So the ranger's fine.
The ranger and the rogue are like...
Yeah. They're like, whatever. But I mean, like, the rogues also used uncanny dodge, so that's also halved. So it's down to only like 5d6.
Yeah, so he's like,
fair.
yikes, and then
Fine.
looks over, and the wizard is a skeleton.
Yeah, 100%. Just a pile of ash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I wish Lockie was around for when we were fighting for fighting Cora. What a great time that would have been. All right, last thing for them.
Because you want to poof Locky.
I just, every time you say, like, you're gonna, like, poof someone with fire, I just think of, like, the cartoon where, like, they're just, like, the charcoal outline of themselves, and then they just crumble into a pile of ash.
Exactly.
Exactly what I'm picturing.
Makes me warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, and like I feel like the easiest way now to explain Cora and Lockie's relationship through the entire campaign that we played is anyone who has seen the D&D movie and the relationship between the paladin and the bard.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is them to a T. And in
that.
fact, when we went to go see the movie, we went to go see it together. Dan and I were sitting beside each other, and there was the part where, like, he trips the bridge and it falls. Yeah. Sorry, spoilers, question mark. And the paladin the bridge collapses, and the paladin just looks at the bard like, you motherfucker. That was Lockie and Cora's relationship to a T.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it the sorcerer?
Oh, it was the sorcerer.
It was the
You're right.
sorcerer that
Yeah,
tripped
yeah.
it, but
You're
still.
correct. It's
But
the same,
still.
Same relationship.
Same idea.
But
Same
there
idea.
was absolutely moments where, like, everyone turned and looked at Dan in, like, our row at the theater, and he was like, what? And I was like, you know.
Well, even when the bridge moment happened, I was sitting there and all I will see is like Dan lean forward. He just kind of like smiles at me like, and I'm like, yeah, that's you, motherfucker. Sorry. Last thing is they have parry. So if they're hit with a melee attack, they can add a 6 to their AC once per round as a reaction.
So I can parry it. Yeah.
So and their AC is already 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Or it was going to be 20 with armor.
Yes.
Like insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
And plop them on top of a
Good luck hitting them.
skeleton horse. Oh my god.
A skeletal war horse? Like, I'm just thinking like a
Yeah.
big old, like, Clydesdale type.
Yeah. So, like, the fun thing is, like, I don't think Adam remembers this, and I'm sure he does because he has it written down somewhere. But when I first originally wrote Cora, she has a horse. She has
Yes, I
a war
remember
horse
this.
that she had to leave behind and never saw again, to the point where on my character sheet, it actually has Find Steed. She had Find Steed to be able to find her horse when she could, but, like, we never went back home.
No.
Well,
Oh boy. Well, that's coming back.
just reminded Adam that Cora had a steed, so prepare for horses.
Yeah, she did. She did have a
It's okay. I
will
painted
have
a
her
miniature for you. So.
A skeletal
No,
steed.
you didn't.
Yeah, there is absolutely. I've painted that mini.
Amazing.
So prepare.
I'm so excited.
It's gotta be used, right?
That's true. How do we must use it? Anyways, okay, so that is a Death Knight as a whole and in a nutshell, so let's roll some dice.
What a joy. I am going to pick this one today.
Alright. All right, 9 for me, 19 for Ehlwyn, and then we've got 14 for Casey. All right, so let's just talk about Death Knights as a whole. I'm going to try and remove Cora from my context. But, like, so, quest ideas. Ehlwyn, what are your thoughts?
Ooh, quest ideas. I feel like big bad, you know, like... Death Knight just screams big bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it
you know,
does. It has
with a what was it, a CR of 12?
It was
18?
It was a healthy CR of 17.
17, there you go. I mean, I really don't know what screams big bad other than a CR of 17. Let's just throw that at a level 1, you know, like first encounter.
Yeah.
Hi.
Welcome.
Pretty much. Yeah, this is your big bad. This is your, these are the murmurs amongst all of the villages of, you know, the area that you're in about this one reigning
So it's almost
terror.
like you never fight it, you never want to come across it, but you know the history.
You know the history,
Yeah.
you know it's there.
Yeah.
Nothing gets that powerful without it being known,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It is, you know, they're up there with, you know, vampire lords and just liches and yeah, they're up there with the big bads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very true. Casey, what about you? Quest idea.
I see this as it's your long game, but I feel like you're gonna have to navigate to a different realm, different plane. Like you are trying to drop the ring in the volcano. Like you need to slog, you need to fight, you need to gain abilities in order to even consider fighting it. And then you're going to have to find magic to get you even to like the realm or the plane that it lives on. In general, I don't know. I feel like it's also the thing because it is the end game. It's going to be something that perhaps your real true purpose and the reason you're going to find Death Knight is not known at the very beginning of your campaign.
Yeah.
It evolves and it comes out as you go along. And you might find it at like level 12.
Yeah. I mean, like on the string of everything being big bads, all I can think of when I think of Death Knights is the 4 horsemen.
Yeah.
Of the apocalypse. So I would love to do a campaign
hot.
centered around like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but they're all Death Knights.
Yes.
They're all fallen paladins. They all have a history. They all have a story. Each one of them has a weakness. And your job is to find each one's weakness, use it against them to stop the apocalypse from happening.
Yeah.
And that's your big long game.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
But then all random
so fun.
shit happens in between, like it does in most
gosh.
campaigns. But that's your end. That's your long game campaign is to
Love
fight
it.
these 4 horsemen. And I feel like
That's a sexy
the internet's going to be like, Megan, it's been done before, and I bet it has.
100%.
One, it
But
was
it's such a good story.
it was in God of War. Like it was
Yeah.
in it's in video games. Like
Oh,
it's a common theme.
it was in Supernatural.
Yeah.
It was in, I mean, like any kind of like lore based
uses the 4 horsemen.
fandom is going to use 4 horsemen.
Yeah.
I'm watching
Simpsons.
Good Omens right now.
Yeah?
Behind the Times. I'm like, this is so great. It's in there.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a classic for a reason. Been around for a few millennia.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great story.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's got a lot of depth to it as well.
Yeah.
And you can make it a multi-arc. You could definitely make it where individual characters within your party have a certain connection to each horseman as well.
Yeah, so
So
you have to
there's some
highlight
sort of-
every party member
so,
to be successful.
Yeah.
across
You're a
the
descendant
board.
of.
Yeah,
or, like,
you're a
from the
descendant
clan
of, or like, you know, if it's pestilence, you know, it was specifically like your ancestral village was always affected by pestilence.
So you have a
type
vendetta
thing.
against
so
that
you
specific
have,
one.
So that is like, it has wiped out your entire bloodline and
man.
you are the last left, and like that is your goal.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I think that there's a lot of depth to that.
Blessings.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome. Body horror for them.
I mean, I think he could go super stereotypical. I think he could go, knights on, jousting. You know, you've got kind of like your jousting knight, full suit of armor. You got your war horse, that sort of stuff. But then you've got that playability of, if you do something like the 4 horsemen, give them their own personalities. They've all kind of, Pestilence has got definitely, some maybe rotting or decaying, rusted out kind of armor, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, famine is maybe looking a little emaciated. You know, War is definitely, you know, full black suit of armor. He's on a steed. Steed's like flaring out, you know, fire from the, like flames from the nose, like, you know, really kind of played up to personalities as well. I think that there's a lot of versatility of that.
That's true. What about you, Casey?
I kind of like the idea too of if you're having, say, a singular death knight, that is the end goal, end game, that they have pristine armor and pristine perfect longsword, and their horse is covered in whatever their like the cloth is, like if it was blue, and like their emblems. And then at one point like if one gets some kind of hit, you like knock their helmet, and then it's just like this horrific like shell of like human corpse behind it.
Yeah.
And so you have to wait to really know. It's like, wait, well, like, is it decayed? What does it actually look like? And then have kind of a really sickening reveal.
Like a progression. Yeah.
In like the throes of battle, like the helmet gets knocked off and there's like a big reveal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in slow motion. And they like slowly turn their head.
And then they're just like the tails of the Crypt Keeper. Like they've got like the scraggly long gray hair and like the hollowed out face and
the melting
the
skin.
gaunt like grayish
and then
skin.
they do try and like smile at you, and it's just like this like
snaggly teeth that's like half rotted out.
Yeah.
Gross.
What do you think?
So gross. Playing on to Ehlwyn's thoughts on like the fact that you're going to give them a very specific personality style is going to mimic what they look like.
Yeah.
And I like spinning things on its head. Like, yes, it's going to look like a knight in shining armor sitting on a horse. But what if they were just a mundane paladin? Like, they weren't like your shining god. They weren't like the one that wore the shiny armor. They were literally just a guy that wore leather armor and just was on a crusade and failed.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I feel like you could just play a Death Knight as a regular fucking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm thinking also, like, if you, like, play in the world of L5R, a samurai can be a samurai and they all look the fucking same to a degree, but they all have weird different back histories, they're wearing different maul and that kind of thing, but they all look like general people because they live in a world of very, like, mundane necessities, right? And so I like that idea, that this was probably a paladin that didn't believe in wearing the armor, wearing the emblems, like, it was just doing good deeds.
Or he just didn't have the funds for it, because that shit's expensive.
Yeah, man. And then, like, just failed at his job.
Good deeds don't pay a lot.
Yeah. Or was a paladin in training and just couldn't do what the other paladins could do, so he's technically the runt of the litter.
Yeah.
That now has become a Death Knight and is stronger than all of them, but looks the weakest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that would be really cool. Role-playing tactics. Arrogant as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are powerful. They know they're powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that that's definitely defining. They know that they're untouchable. But I think that it would be really good to have kind of like those moments of, oh shit, I did get hit.
Yeah, like it would
and
be
like the
kinda like I'm impressed.
Yeah, like a little bit of almost like a little bit of like the stark horror of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like that, like a little bit of hesitance of like, I have had 500 years of just absolutely dominating this entire domain, and this peon of a human has come along.
This half-elf has decided it has a problem with me.
Yeah. So I think that there's some fun playability on that as well.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think they would, because they have so many like immunities and abilities that I feel like you could play into them interacting a little more with the people that they're fighting and kind of make it known when the wizard tries to do a spell and it just doesn't work, or like they're trying to do turn undead on like a horde that's over there and it's
within
like
its radius.
Nice try. And it's just they are aware of everything you're trying and failing at, and then when something actually works, they're like, Okay.
Because I do believe that because they were a paladin, they lived in an adventurer's life.
Yeah.
They know the beginnings and ends of everything that you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like, to your point, they're going to stand there and they're going to challenge you.
Yeah.
They're going to stand there with their horde and be like, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
I'll give you one free round.
Yeah.
That is 100% how I play it.
Hit me.
Yeah, you get one free round.
Yeah.
And if you fail in your one free round, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, done. You fucked around and you found out.
Hope you've got a will. And you know where your possessions are going, because...
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, exploration and clues.
I feel like they are just, like, if there's a Death Knight around, they're going to make themselves known.
Yeah.
They're not going to be hiding. They're not going to be
Oh yeah, they have their own fucking kingdom.
They're ruling their roost. They are there. The villages know that they are there. They warn you against not going into that specific area.
Yeah.
I really don't think that there's going to be a lot of hints dropped. It's just going to be a big whabam in your face.
Yeah.
This is a thing.
I love it.
Yeah, and I agree. And when you very clearly know you're in the realm, you are still very far away from them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there is death and dying, and like there is signs of every consideration of death and undead creatures in that realm that you need to navigate through before you even like touch where you might interact with them.
It would be desecrated ground.
Yeah.
100%.
Right? Like any church within miles, any graveyard within miles
100%.
has been upturned and uprooted.
100%.
Like any religious symbolism or what have you has been yeeted.
Yeah.
You are in a barren area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
And I kind of like
nuclear bomb just absolutely
Poof.
totally. And I think you could make that starkly like polar opposite by, say, like your party is somewhere that's very forested or very lush or very pretty, and or you go to like a fae realm and you acquire a portal to this place. And so if you describe how beautiful and lush the environment is, and then they walk through a portal to their final destination and it's just wasteland.
It's just complete wasteland. There is skeletons and just
There's like ghosts just wandering aimlessly.
You've just got every undead that we will talk about in this entire
Yeah. So, but like to speak on the fact that like you mentioned that like if you go to a forested area.
Yeah.
So, and that triggered my brain. Paladins take sacred oaths.
Yeah.
And they're all very different.
Yeah.
So like the ancients, conquest, crown, devotion, glory, redemption, vengeance, watchers, and oathbreaker. Like, they all have very different aesthetics to them. Yeah. So we've been playing this episode so far about how we're looking at the Silver Knight, right?
Yeah.
But, like, the Ancients, in my mind, is going to be of the forest.
Yeah.
You're going to find them in a forest.
You are going to... You could stumble upon a realm that you didn't... That you might not even know that Death Knight's there.
And you're just navigating
You're navigating through. You're like, hey, let's take this shortcut. This looks like, you've been given a map. And, like, the map clearly says, like, go through around here, but, like, from point A to point B, it's so much quicker to go through this forest, and then, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stumbled upon this Death Knight.
Thousands of year old trees, but they're black.
Yeah.
And it's like, it still lives in the forest, but is not the same forest.
That could be some of the clues.
Yeah, holding on to.
That could be some of the clues you're going through, and, like, all of a sudden, like, lush green forest, and as you get closer to kind of the center, the core of the forest, it just slowly starts kind of getting a little bit more withered, a little bit more
The animals
decayed.
are gone, the animals are dead.
It's just you could hear a pin drop, just absolutely silent, no birds, nothing. And then could you imagine, like, you're just kind of like walking through, and then all of a sudden you just hear like a horse's exhale.
Yeah.
Like,
you were about to do like a whinny.
I was going to try and exhale through my nose, and I'm like, that's not going to be attractive. No sound effects for this one. But, like, you could just hear that, like, deep breath of a horse. Like, I'm almost thinking, like, we always kind of do a callback to, like, Lord of the Rings and things like that. Yeah. But to the
wraiths on horseback.
The wraiths, the Nazguls. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys remember so much Lord of the Rings shit? Like, I don't remember names for anything in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's hobbits. That is as much as I know.
Yeah.
I always do the callback, and just because we talked about the Oath of the Ancients, the fact that they're forested, I do callbacks to Legend of Zelda on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf in the temple of the forest temple, when he's on horseback and running through the paintings or whatever. But you hear the horses like snort.
Well, that's what it is. Exactly. Like you hear the deep breathing of the horse.
And the hooves clacking on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. And that they might not even be like him there, but that's like the aura's warning.
But that's exactly, like that's just the vibe
to confuse the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you would not want to rest in this area.
No,
so, like,
you're
if
trying
you take
to go
too
through.
long and then you don't rest and then you all suffer like a level of exhaustion going into this fight, like holy shit. Yeah.
And then you just kind of like you're walking through, you're hearing like the trees just like creaking as they're just kind of slowly bending and swaying because they're all dead.
It's very true. Just gross. Thinking like Haunted Mansion forest.
Yeah.
I like how we pivoted, like, fuck the Shining Knight. We're going Forest Knight.
Yeah. But I mean, like, but again, I mean, because they are paladins.
And who they were in life. Yeah.
There's so many layers to the personalities that you can give them.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that just brings us back to like that opens up so much for the role playing. Mm-hmm. If you're struggling on, because we were like, horrible, scary, gonna be an arrogant prick. It's like you add in one angle of like
their environment,
their specific,
and you have a whole.
Their forest is haunted. They don't have to deal with you. Last but not least, combat. I mean, we did talk a little bit about it. I said like they're going to be arrogant. They're like, come at me, bro.
Absolutely.
If you make it to like, and if we go back to the forest thought, they're going to be like, if you can get into my castle and come fight me, I'll fight you.
Yeah.
But good luck getting to me.
I'll also be mildly impressed.
Yeah, but like and I might want to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be a little bored that day. It's been like a millennia.
It's been 84 years.
Yeah, but as a DM, it will be there will be a lot to control and manage because it has a lot of cool abilities. So you will have to know it very well.
Yeah.
So, when you were kind of talking about the different abilities that it has and how it's kind of got like a lot of kind of buffs and kind of like area effects, and it's going to do something over here and it's going to do something over here. Like it's almost puppet mastery.
Yeah.
Like it's going to fuck up this location over here and it's going to kind of cause some chaos over here, but then it's also going to be bad news over on the other side. And so it's kind of just sitting there like he's got the arrogance. He's sitting there going like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And he's just like a little sprinkle over here and a little sprinkle over there, and he's just sitting back puppet mastering it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spread the damage.
Totally. Because like you can think that you're safe because you've got it like surrounded in melee combat, and then it can drop that not fireball, the hell orb.
The hell orb.
Hellfire
orb.
Yeah.
Like way over there.
Drops that over there, and then he's just like, let's do a little horde of something over here, and then like, I'm gonna like fuck up your cleric, and
it really won't care if it wipes out like bunch of its own army as well. It's just like
he's just like,
I can make more
collateral damage, like whatevs.
Yeah, I'm just gonna build me some revenants today.
Yeah.
You get a revenant, and you get a revenant.
Could you imagine, like, its goal in life is to make as many revenants as it can, so it's constantly being challenged?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Like, that would be, like, so fucking badass.
Chessmaster Extreme, just like...
Yeah, it's like, it gives me, like, evil Goku vibes.
Yeah.
Of just like, I want to fight you because I want to be the strongest.
Yeah.
But when I kill you, you're gonna come back as a revenant and get stronger, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. Let's play more.
And that is the sea in front of you before you can even get to...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, a sea of revenants. I mean, like, I'm sorry, you don't get to kill them because I am going to kill them.
They bring back the revenants, but the revenants become part of their army. So the people that tried to fight them has become their army.
Yeah. And then it's
it's their collection.
Yeah.
These are my shiny little toys.
I killed all of these.
Yeah.
Look at how great
Would
I
you
am.
like to join?
Yeah.
It'd be so cool if, like, the Death Knights then, like, got together and was like, look at my collection. And, like, they just, like, compared collections.
That's the 4 horsemen every 2 years.
Exactly.
Every millennia. They're like, hey, what does your army look like?
What does your army look like?
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
that's the end, right? The tragic death of one of your party members at level 12 becomes a revenant or becomes part of the Death Knight's army.
Yeah.
So fuck all of the plans we had. We are now beefing up and we are going after them just to try and free them. Even if you can't save them, free them from that.
Free them at least from that.
So then you're fighting a Death Knight.
we love it.
Holy
Sign
moly.
your own death certificate.
All right, so that's Death Knights as a whole.
Death Knights of the Wall.
Yeah, so we should go into some lore. Holy moly. Okay, buckle up. We're going to talk about Lord Soth. And if you look up Lord Soth in any source you want, you're going to find lots of history and lots of different stories. I'm going to do my best to highlight a few that I found most interesting and had a bit more substance to them. His story plays a role in various parts of adventures found in the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen book. But there is a lot of lore outside of this book as well. You will have heard of him already if you are a longtime listener of the It's Mimic regular podcast series in episode 227, which is all about Dragonlance. Adam does a nice deep dive of Lord Soth, and I'll cover a lot of that here as well, with details from this book and then other lore sources. But there will be some spoilers if you're planning on playing a Dragonlance campaign, or you will be in the future. So if you want to run one yourself, definitely check out that episode for inspiration as a DM. So as a human, he was known as Loren Soth, and he was a husband and an example of all that is good and virtuous. He was an elite Solamnic knight of the Order of the Black Rose. House of Soth was one of the ruling houses of Solamnia, which is a human nation in Ansalon. This is heavy Dragonlance in here. Yeah. But how the mighty fall. After he and his knights save a group of Sylvanesti elves from raiders, he becomes infatuated with one of the elves, a priest named Isolde, and takes her back to have for himself. Remember, he has a wife.
Yeah.
So, in the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen book, it is said that Lord Soth's wife, Corin, dies, and then he marries Isolde a few days later, which gets him in trouble with the Knights of Solamnia because he is showing so much disrespect to his late wife. Therefore, gods call on him to redeem himself and go on a quest to prevent the cataclysm, which is the very devastating threat brought forth by the king priest of Istar that will destroy everything. This is like a big premise in this whole thing.
This is Ragnarok. This is
yes,
the apocalypse. This is
yes. So redeem yourself like you used to be good and virtuous. What the fuck did So go forth. And it kind of that's kind of like there are many other stories that have more juice than that. So another one. His wife becomes pregnant with the assistance of magical skill she has, but he also gets this elven woman pregnant before his wife gives birth to his first child. Unfortunately, when his wife gives birth to the baby, it's deformed, and he blames her and the magic as a reason for it, freaks out and kills his wife and their child, and then covers it up as a dying in childbirth scenario. And so conveniently, he has this backup lover of this elven priestess. Yeah. And so he attempts to wait an appropriate amount of time following his wife's death and marries her. Yeah. And shocker, it wasn't 9 months after that. She gives birth to a child. And so all is well and good for them for a short time, but his first wife's death was investigated by a panel of knights, and eventually they come after him for the death of her and his child from witness testimonies, and he is sentenced to death.
Dude, I just feel like that was a trial of women being like, the girl math ain't mathing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
The guy was like, what are you talking about? Like, that totally makes sense.
Yeah,
I was like, no.
Yeah, there's a lot of like the wives that are like, that's not. Hon, you should probably like. I'm just a female. I have no power here. I can't do anything. But you need to like. I'm telling you, fucking figure it out.
The wife of one of the other knights, he comes home and being like, yeah, like this happened today at work. And she's like, oh, okay, I need you to sit down.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain something to you. And I'm going to try and do this as best I can.
That's not how women's bodies
babies are made. All right, go on.
Yeah. I'm here with you. I'm on about it. But, like, Lord Soth is an elite knight of this Order of the Rose. Yeah. And so he ends up being saved from a public beheading by his loyal fellow knights of Solamnia. And it's decided that he will be exiled instead.
Okay.
No.
But sadly,
Typical.
He is having a hard time with that.
Oh, boo-hoo.
And is torn from his elven wife and their child, and he falls into a depression.
Oh,
because of it.
Baby.
I know. Oh, just wait for it.
Oh,
my summary is going to be very different response than Adam when he talked about it.
And I was just like, this poor guy.
Yeah.
Really feel for him.
So his still devoted second wife, Isolde, then prays to goddess Mishakal to help him with his depression. And he is given yet another chance at life and given a task to ride and confront the king priest to stop the cataclysm and save Kryn. This goddess promises to help him with his quest and to even resurrect him if needed so that he can complete the task and return to live peacefully with his wife and child again. So, short and sweet kind of scenario. Still, he's an asshole in the
100%.
first one.
Yeah.
Second one, so much more juice.
Yeah.
Oh,
bigger
he's
so
a
much
asshole.
more
bigger
goss.
asshole. He is a bigger asshole in the second
Yeah.
one. That's not
This guy.
he is not a pretty picture that one painted.
That's some real toxic energy right there.
And
It's
so,
just-
Sus as fuck.
that gives me.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is where, like, so those are the two kind of parallel stories, and this is where they begin to align a little bit again. So on his journey, it doesn't get better though.
Go on, pop off
So
my
on
leash.
his journey to the king priest, he crosses paths with the elven group Isolde was part of originally, and they, not shockingly, don't really like him.
What?
Yeah.
Spoilers!
He kind of stole away their priestess, and
This is shocking news.
I am beguiled.
so they tell him that she hasn't been faithful to him, and that the child is not his.
What?
And so he abandons his quest to go back and confront her and likely murder her. But in
As you
doing
do.
so, he doesn't stop the king priest, and the cataclysm happens anyway.
What the fuck?
This man!
This fucking guy.
This man!
I'm so glad he is on our version of the podcast.
I know. I'm just like, oh, this gets worse. This gets
I'm gonna
worse.
rip this guy a new one.
Yeah. And yeah, the elves were of course lying. His second wife, and his first wife for that matter, never cheated on him. But the
They should
pride. Oh man. So as the world is burning up around them in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen book, Isolde curses Lord Soth in her dying breath after he accuses her of cheating and says to suffer one lifetime for every life lost in the cataclysm. In the juicier version that I found online, Lord Soth has a chance to save his child as their castle collapses around them, but he refuses to take him from his dying wife's arms where she is trapped because his pride was damaged with her unfaithful acts.
hate him.
When he turns to leave them both to die, she screams a curse at him to live one life
Good
for
lady.
every life lost as a result of the cataclysm, and the gods grant it.
Good woman.
So yeah, she gets a little bit of like revenge, but and yeah, ultimately Lord Soth does not escape the cataclysm himself. He too dies a fiery death with his knights in the cataclysm, with fire so fierce it can burn stone. And cursed he is. He rises again as one of the most powerful death knights in all of Krynn, but is alone and in his fucking feelings. Like, maybe I made some mistakes.
Oh, now you think that these are bad decisions.
And so he and his knights that saved him
Yeah.
way back when are also cursed, and they remain undead to never find peace. And many of the elves who deceived him about Isolde's cheating and made him turn back, their doing also helped not stop the cataclysm, and they were also cursed to live as ghosts. And so, would he have gotten there and stopped the king priest? Whom's to say?
Who's to say?
So, Lord Sloth. I got there before I finally said it.
We
Oh my
call him that
God.
from now on in my mind.
Lord Sloth.
He is. Oh
Lord
God.
Slippery motherfucker.
Lord Soth hides away in the remnants of his burned and collapsed castle called Dargard Keep. The fire had burned away his flesh, and so he exists as a skeleton covered in black armor with bright orange glowing eyes and feeling constant pain. In the time as a Death Knight, again, there are many stories of his activities, including him pledging allegiance to Dragon High Lords, but ultimately, Dragon Queen Takesis, aka Tiamat, summons him to fight as her champion, and he rides into battle for her on the back of a death dragon. It is also said that Takesis destroys the magic keeping Lord Soth as a Death Knight and finally fully ends his existence.
You know what? Serendipitous that a woman finally ends his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Fuck this guy.
yeah. He is a piece of work. I know, interesting, but holy shit.
I feel like I could go around now saying, like, instead of saying that's some toxic relationship energy, I'm like, that's some Lord Soth energy.
That's some
there.
Lauren Soth
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
a lot. It's a lot.
I'm gonna put that on a mug.
Some Lord Soth energy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I don't know, happily pleasant. Like, I don't know if we will enjoy playing him in a campaign, but we do have
For the
stat
murder.
blocks for him.
Yeah. Yeah, stat blocks. So, stat blocks on Lord Soth. So, he is a medium undead paladin. He is lawful evil. He has a armor class of 18, so he's got some plate armor. His hit point pool is 228. And he has a speed of 30. Unsurprisingly, he's got a strength of 22, which is a +6. And his next two kind of strongest stats are in Constitution and Charisma. He's got a +5 in both of those.
Of course he fucking does.
Yeah, so he's a bit of a smooth talker. He's got a Wisdom of +3, an Intelligence of 1, or +1. And he has a +0 to his dex. So while he's a smooth talker and pretty buff, he's not
Not very smooth in the bedroom.
Not very dexterous.
Not about it.
Not very dexterous. He has a +11 to Charisma saving throws, +9 to Wisdom saving throws, and +6 to Dex saving throws. He is immune to necrotic and poison damage. He has conditional immunities to exhaustion, being frightened, and being poisoned. He has dark vision of 120 feet, which is not that great if you were going up against him, and a passive perception of 13. He is, his languages, he knows Common, Infernal, and Solamnic.
Solamnic.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. He has a challenge rating of 19, ladies and gentlemen, and a proficiency bonus of +6. So he's got some legendary resistances. He has 3 per day. So if Soth fails a saving throw, he can choose to succeed instead.
Very common for these big
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
I hate that one. Probably.
Yeah.
It's like one of
As
the
soon as you know
tops.
that you're fighting one that has them, your goal is to get rid of them.
Yeah. Big, yeah. He's got magic resistance, so he has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
Death Knight thing, great, yep.
Yeah. He has martial undead, so unless Soth is incapacitated, he and undead creatures of his choice within 60 feet of him are immune to features that turn undead.
Yep.
Right.
And then he has unusual nature as well, very common with all of the other undead that we've been speaking of. So he doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep.
Yep.
He has multi-attack, because of course he does. Mm-hmm. Soth makes 3 Forsaken Brand attacks. So Forsaken Brand is a melee weapon attack with a +12 to hit and a 5-foot reach. Against one target. It hits for 1 d8 plus 6 bludgeoning damage plus 4d8 necrotic damage. And if the target is a creature, it can't regain hit points until the start of Soth's next turn.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hard to track.
Yeah.
That is.
That's a mechanic that's really difficult to, like, the cleric's gonna have to definitely be on its game to really be able to
even
track
as a
that.
DM, that'd be really hard to track. To be like,
Yeah.
if you're playing him and they're fighting you, like it would be interesting.
You almost need to mark it.
Yeah.
Like mark
Yeah.
who can't regain until
you'll have to have like a specific.
But that is that
specific
paladin
tracker.
thing, like the Forsaken Brand, like branding smite, you know?
Yeah.
It's very
It's the
very
spirit.
paladin-y.
Yeah. He's also got Cataclysmic Fire, so he can do this once per day. So Soth hurls a magical ball of fire that explodes at each point he can see within 120 feet. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on that point must make a DC 19 dex saving throw. The creature takes 10d6 fire damage and 10d6 necrotic damage. So very similar to the hellfire
There ain't no hair anymore.
The hellfire orb.
Hellfire orb.
Yeah. But I mean, if you succeed, it's halved.
Yeah.
I like how you now adapted that. But if you succeed, it's only half.
It's only half. Additionally, any medium or small humanoid killed by this damage has as well as every corpse as such, a creature within the sphere becomes a skeleton.
Skeletos.
Oh my god.
Under Soth's control.
Interesting.
So this skeleton acts on Soth's initiative, but immediately after his turn. Absent any other command, the skeleton tries to kill any non-undead creature it encounters.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So it like blows the shit up. And
Fireball! Skeletons!
the smoke and like orange haze dissipates, and then you just see these creatures moving.
Oh,
and
essentially,
getting up.
yeah, you just got skeletons.
boy.
Yeah, you just got skeletons.
Cool.
Spell casting, Soth can cast one of the following spells requiring no material components, using charisma with a spell save DC of 19. At will, he can use command. He casts this at third level. Twice a day, he can either do dispel magic or hold person. He casts that as third level as well. And then once per day, he can banish someone at a 6th level.
Banishment is such a weird spell to me.
It is.
Just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But like, if
Just
you
go
technically
away.
come from this plane, you will come back.
Yeah. He's also got Word of Death that he can use once per day. So he points at a creature within 60 feet and can magically command it to die. Yay!
It's like power word kill.
It's like power word kill,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah. The target must make a DC 19 Constitution save, taking 100 points necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. If this damage reduces the target to 0 points, the target dies. No ifs, ands, buts, or about it. Do not pass go.
Yeah.
Do not pass. Collect $200.
Yeah.
It's also got legendary actions, because legendary resistances are always accompanied by legendary actions.
Usually.
So, yeah, he takes 3 legendary actions. So he's got Implaceable Maneuver. So Soth moves up to his speed or commands a mount he is riding to move up to its speed. The movement from this action doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. If he or his mount moves within 5 feet of a creature during this movement, he can force the creature to make a DC 20 strength saving throw. The creature is knocked prone unless it succeeds the saving throw. He can also strike, which costs 2 legendary actions to make, and he makes 1 Forsaken Brand attack. Or he can use all 3 of his actions to cast a spell.
Cast a spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this breakdown in the regular book, or is this in Dragonlance?
Yeah, this breakdown is in Dragonlance.
Well, shit. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
He's
And
OG,
like the only way
second
this
edition.
is even worthwhile is being really high level. Like you're level 18 to 20.
Oh, easily.
And
yeah,
you have allies
endgame.
that join you in this battle, and
This
you
is-
have
this
magical
is-
items.
This is what you have been working 5 years towards.
So, we're gonna roll some dice and discuss this twat
Right.
waffle.
He is the definition of twat waffle. You just rolled my dice.
Oh, I rolled a nat 20.
Nice.
You rolled a nat 20 with my dice.
So I feel like this is going to be a very... I did, so you're welcome. This is going to be a very controversial question, I feel, for the internet. Do we like Lord Soth as a character? And I'm going to say no. I mean,
How about no?
it's needed in life, but I feel like it's too real. Like, why? Like, just fuck right off. And the thing that pisses me off the most is that, like, he did all that shit, things popped off, he's now more powerful and sad about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Poor fucking me. Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I'm gonna just do this bidding.
Oh man,
Oh.
things didn't work out how I wanted them.
Ugh. Just
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like, it's an interesting long lore background story that I feel like you can play campaigns in different parts of his storyline. And
Yeah.
so you don't have to fight him as a big bad as a Death Knight right away.
Yeah.
You can throw in like a campaign, like a court game
Yeah.
of like the women being like, no, honey, like
Yeah.
you need to go back and you need to tell them that that's not how it works. 9 months is 9 months. Like I don't. Like,
Yeah.
So, like, you can, like, I feel like there's a lot here that you can use because, like, who doesn't have a stupid, tragic backstory in life?
Yeah.
I just feel like this is very hyper concentrated into one person.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we all have that one asshole in our lives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I just,
Yeah. He
Yeah.
wanted it all. He tried to get it all, and then things got fucked up for him, and he whined about it.
You got upset.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is misogyny at its best.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk more about that question? Or you guys have any further comments?
No, I mean, I think playability, well, I mean, no. Do you like Lord Soth as a character? No. I
You
think
want
that
to kill
answers,
him.
that answers that question.
Yeah.
I think that we could definitely, spiral into, different ways that we could manipulate or use him. And I mean, as a DM, if you want to be a little or sadistic, yeah, play this, throw it at your party.
But I feel like you wouldn't even know his background. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's not like you're gonna deep
Yeah.
dive into his background as players and figure out this.
Well, not
long-winded
as players,
backstory.
but I mean, like as DM. But as a DM, though, I mean, like you're gonna know his backstory, and you're gonna like unleash the full array of it
Yeah,
on
Like
your
over
character.
time.
But it's going to be the wrath of the nonsense
Yeah.
of it. But, like, your characters and, like, your players
Yeah,
are going to
your
be like,
players.
oh, like, look at this fucking Death Knight. Fuck this guy. And you're like,
Yeah.
you don't even know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and that is kind of how he's laid out in the book too, is like there's like different people along the way you may encounter way before you ever know him at all have information. And so like it's easy to pull from a lot of different angles for him. But ultimately he is never going to be the good guy. He is never, like, you will hate him. He is built to hate.
Yeah, he will never be the good guy. But, like, so next question is around quest ideas. However, again, I like to flip shit on its head. So if you were going to play an evil campaign or an unknown evil campaign that turned into an evil campaign, you might just be a follower in his kingdom. And you might just be a part of his army. And, like, you are the caretakers of this elven wife that he's now brought home. And, like, you're the guards for her. And then all this shit's popping off in the background, but all you are tasked to do is keep this person safe.
Yeah.
But then they find out that there's murderers after her because there's probably going to be a cult and a group of people being like, we know what happened and this woman does not belong here.
Yeah.
So then you take her to a place of safety thinking that you're helping her escape this castle, and then that's what pops off the whole storyline.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're protecting this woman who technically is innocent.
Yeah. And he thinks you are the one she's sleeping with.
She slept with. Like, she's definitely going to accuse one of you.
Yeah.
Being
100%. Yeah.
Like, oh my god. I feel like there's so much in his backstory already written that I would almost want to pick a point in that timeline, do a campaign, and not give a shit if it changes the timeline.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Let your players do what they want to do. It's like when you play a Strahd campaign, it's never played the same way twice. Same kind of concept.
Yeah.
Right? What about you, Ehlwyn?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Quest ideas.
Yeah. Quest ideas. I mean, like you had said, you could really plop a quest down anywhere within his timeline. So you could make him like the ultimate big bad if you wanted to. And I don't know why you would have some sort of like redemption arc for him or something like that. You could make it that the end goal, the end quest is, trying to help reverse the effects of the cataclysm and, bring peace to the land and things like that. And only in that does Lord Soth find peace and can finally go off and, go to the...
fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much. But, like, he can find peace. Like, you could definitely go that way if you ever wanted to, like, sympathize with him. But... it's definitely just one of those, you could plop it down in your, you could be trying to stop the cataclysm before and, like, watching Lord Soth, like, absolutely fuck it up. And, try and make sure, like, what if you, like, plop it down in his storyline of... like he's gone to go and he's come across the other priests that are like, oh, your wife cheated on you or whatever. And like, you're going with him and you're like, but she didn't. And he's like, but I need to go this way. And you're like, no, you really need to go this way to deal with, and to like stop the cataclysm and things like that. So, I mean, like there's a lot of playability on it. Like you could really plop them down in the middle of the lore. Or you could just have it as, endgame. He is who he is.
Yeah. Ooh.
What about you, Casey?
I hate this so much, but... So, like, he becomes the Dragon Queen's champion in the storyline. Akra is a worshiper of the Dragon Queen. And abso-fucking-lutely would team up with this dude.
Yeah.
She would.
Lich and Death Knight? Absolutely.
And I don't think Cora would really have a problem with that in the long term.
She might see it as just more competition.
Yeah, she's like, I'm sorry. I thought I was the only Death Knight in your life. That's fine.
A little jealousy.
Yeah,
whatever. Rumble.
I mean, I tried to kill you once, and now you won't even return my calls. Like...
Like when your best friend all of a sudden gets like a new friend and you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not allowed
to
have
best friends now?
Yeah, you guys are not allowed to have another best friend.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've known you for 20 million years.
Yes.
Okay, so new fun sidebar thing.
Just a lot of girl drama.
And Akra would probably be like, fine, battle it out.
Yeah.
Fight for my love.
Yeah.
But, oh man, okay, so you are in a very high level, like, game at this point. And so, like, for example, if you're going up against an evil lich, this is absolutely something that's going to just drop in and be another ally that you're going to have to face. I can see this now being possibly in our future, in our current campaign, and it kind of scares me. So Adam, just like, don't listen.
We're giving him nudge, Adam, hint,
We're giving him so many ideas.
Yeah. But yeah, you are absolutely right. When the campaign starts to spin a little evil, this is the perfect asshole ally that you might want. And he's such a whiny little bitch as well. So you might
kind of reminds me of like what is it, fucking King Joffrey from Game of Thrones?
Oh
like
just
a sniveling little like no. Like that's what he reminds me of.
Yeah.
I just want to know that the writers probably wrote him like, what a badass character this is.
Oh, 100%.
And we're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Fuck up his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he actually is described in some online sources when he is human, and like he is an uninteresting regular old human that has like dark hair.
Joffrey. But he thinks that he's like the hot shit.
But, yeah, because he's the knight of this elite group and blah blah blah.
I pulled this fucking elven priestess.
Yeah, it's like
I bet you his dad got him that knightship anyway.
Exactly.
Just nepotism to its finest.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So I think that...
He's a legacy knight.
Yeah,
that's
so
fair.
you could just even roll that into just like how he speaks. He has a lot of negative self-talk when he stares in the mirror and sees a like burned just skeleton.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't used to look like this. What happened to you?
I feel like that blends into the roleplay which we're going to talk next because they're thinking the same thing. Where he just constantly is beating himself up because of the life that he lived and like everything that he's lost.
He is the worst
Full
to be
self-loathing.
around.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like I'm almost imagining now like the whole Wizard of Oz, kind of like Wizard behind the curtain, where you never see what he actually looks like because he's always suited up in his armor because of how shitty he looks.
Yeah.
And so when you pull the curtain back, he's actually this gross, emaciated old man. I'm now imagining in Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon one,
Yes.
like the dying king.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm imagining in my
Horrific.
head now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like just like can't even hold himself up, but as soon as he suits up and puts his armor on, like he just has that weird personality to him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ehlwyn, any role-playing thoughts as well?
Yeah. I mean, I also think that while he is self-deprecating and, you know, just kind of absolutely bashes him, I think that he is the fucking cockiest motherfucker when you actually encounter him as well. He just...
Yeah, like in public.
In public, he knows he's hot shit, and he thinks that he's hot shit. He isn't hot shit. He thinks that he's hot shit, and he is just he's that one person that you just want to punch in the face.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't deserve to be this powerful death.
Yeah.
His whole kingdom hates him.
Yeah, like everybody hates him, but because he is that powerful...
Yeah.
People draw mustaches on his posters.
Yeah.
His giant paintings in the hallways have like little mustaches.
Little mustaches, and he like, every time he walks down, he's like, I thought I told the butlers to clean that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but he is just like the most arrogant on the outside, and yeah, I would agree that
But
he is
absolutely hates himself to his core.
loathes himself to the core. But I mean, like, I always feel like that's like one of those, like, when you have that big bad evil guy and they have that one like tiny little shred of humanity of the fact that he knows that he did wrong, that just gives him like a glimmer of like, well, maybe he's not so bad, and I don't want to give him that.
I don't want to.
I don't want to give him that.
Don't.
So like
We don't do
like,
that.
I
We
feel
hate
like
him.
I feel like while he would be self-deprecating, I don't want him to be self-deprecating. I want him to live with his consequences and just own it.
I now just imagine Lord Farquaad.
Yes. Yeah. But like, I want him to live, like, I want him to own his actions and I want him to live with it, but I know that he wouldn't.
No.
Because like, I feel like he doesn't deserve that tiny shred of humanity.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see that. It's very true.
It's like a likable feature when a big bad is like, I hate myself.
Yeah.
So I don't want that for him.
It's like Alex Karev in seasons 1 and 2 of Grey's Anatomy.
Oh,
but then he becomes my favorite, and then I hate him.
it's It's a roller coaster.
It's such a roller coaster of that.
I'm also binging that right now. So.
Yeah.
I am not like I am only caught up to what Netflix has available, so I haven't watched like the newest like 2-3 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm still like
I am
those.
not even close to there.
I go through phases of re-binging that and then go into a deep spiral.
I remember messaging you the other day about how like I wanted to rewatch Vampire Diaries, but I knew it would put me into depression.
100%.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't watch it because it'll make me depressed, but I really want to watch it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have those like specific comfort shows, but you know that you have to be in a certain frame of mind to be able to rewatch them.
And especially now that I like lived alone for so long, I feel like I'm just gonna cry and drink wine and cry more, and like curl up in the bathtub and cry even more. And I'm like, do I want that for my life going forward?
Yeah.
But we'll see. Any further role playing thoughts?
We'll see. Anyway.
Maybe.
Maybe that's next week's vibe.
Seasonal impressions just around the corner.
Fall! The day that I actually get to label my seasonal depression, or my regular depression, as seasonal depression. It's like my regular depression, but with pumpkin spice.
Oh my god.
Fucking pumpkin
And this
spice.
is when Adam's glasses come off. Because he fucking hates the pumpkin.
He hates pumpkin spice.
Oh, great.
Pumpkin spice.
You know who else would hate pumpkin spice? Lord Soth.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be like, who are these bitches and why are they drinking pumpkin spice? Why is it so important? And we're going to say, you know what, Lord Soth? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're ugly.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Exploration.
We will finish.
Exploration and clues. To our point, he has a kingdom. If you're going there, you know he's there. He's a big, big bad. He exists.
Yeah.
Most people will know the stories, but they don't know the whole history. They'll know a version of the history.
Yeah.
They'll know a version of the stories. You'll know a guy that knows a guy that worked at his castle once.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, if you are in the area, you know who he is.
Yeah. Again, it's, to your point, it's like Strahd. Like, you know Ravenloft Manor.
Yeah.
You're gonna know. You're gonna know.
Yeah. And I think all of his, whoever he has, like, guarding, like, the gates or his keep are all just also miserable. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
please just kill me. Please, I don't want to do
Absolutely.
this anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He never comes out and he's always miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just holds himself up inside his manor or his castle.
I do love the idea that the townspeople hate him, though.
Absolutely.
But then, like, when they're in public, they talk about him like he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hear, like, fuck that guy, like, under their breath.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait, what? It's like, no, nothing.
Yeah.
Nope.
Amazing clues. Love that.
I'll get murdered. And that's if you want to dig into, like, the history of him. Like, imagine if you're a party that doesn't know his history.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden everybody's just like, yeah, Lord Soth, he's a good guy. Thumbs up. He's great. But then all of a sudden...
But then in, like, the tavern at, like, 1 o'clock in the morning, you hear, like, that one table that is just fucking
you find the gaggle of
him.
women.
That is just shit-talking him.
They'll be around.
The elves are just like...
the elves are
back there.
just shit-talking him.
And then you can make a decision whether, like, again, I feel like a good quest, too, would be, like, being the rescue crew from the elven community to take her back.
Yeah.
At some point in that timeline, right? That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
All right, last and one of these is combat. I don't want to fight him.
GTFO.
Yeah, it's a disaster. Like,
if you're fighting him, you fucked up.
Unless, if you're fighting him, you fucked up. Unless you have, a very giving DM and they have imbued you with powers of gods. And
your job is to get rid of him.
Yeah, like, in the form of, like, specific weaponry and, magical, like, fucking legendary items and shit like that that is designed to specifically get rid of him. GTFO.
I could see Tiamat being like, you're getting too strong.
Yeah. There is that as well. Yeah, there is that. I mean, like, it did say in the lore that she eventually does destroy him.
That's what I mean. So you play that portion of it being like, you are now followers of Tiamat and your job is your quest is to go kill this motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm growing bored of Lord Soth.
Or she's just getting pissed off with his patriarchal bullshit.
Fuck this guy.
Fuck him and his horse.
She does the whole fucking reverse thing, and when he shows up, it's like, why don't you smile more?
Oh my god.
You're never smiling.
Yeah, you would look so much more
better if you smiled.
Really bring that charisma to life.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to DM and play him in combat, incredible. Like
Yeah.
it's like,
it'd be
oh my
so
god,
fun.
you don't get to do this
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah,
but
this
you will
is-
decimate.
Absolutely. This is a dream
It's
big
gonna
bad
be
as
really,
a
really
DM to be able to play because
and hard.
absolutely. And I mean, I think as a seasoned DM, he's one of those creatures that gives you a little bit of a challenge as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it, while playing earlier kind of episodes and earlier kind of like challenges and creatures and things like that within your campaign is fun because you help your party and things like that develop, and it can be fun throwing like little things and that it's fun to like just fuck with them. Mm-hmm. It's fun to like strike the fear of Lord Soth in them.
Yeah.
So
fair.
it's fun to have that challenge as a DM as well. You go into a lot, everybody that has been a DM knows the amount of backstory and the amount of work and the amount of world building that DMs put into creating the games for their parties. And so having a little bit of a fun as a DM is also definitely needed. So
Kind of a
this is a little bit of a treat. This
is
is a little bit of a treat for you as a DM.
The peak.
A well-written treat.
Yeah. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, undead tragic falls from grace, how would we rank these creatures as part of the undead landscape in D&D 5th edition? So, just plain old Death Knights.
They're my favorite 10. Fucking love Death Knights. And
You've got a personal connection
I
to
do.
it, though.
they're very neat, though.
They are.
But they are, yeah.
They are definitely, I think.
It's like you get a whole character in an evil big bad guy. Yeah. And you don't have to build it yourself. You just a whole fucking character.
Yeah.
I think there's that. I think that it's a good comeback for a fallen party character, to be able to come back. If they don't want to come back as someone good, they could come back as a Death Knight. They could hide their identity as a Death Knight.
It's true.
They could come back posing as a Revenant, but surprise, I'm a Death Knight, and fuck up their party. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say they're definitely on the higher, like a 8 or 9 for me.
I'm going to put them at 10.
Yeah!
I like it. I like it a lot. They
Thank-
are intimidating and scary.
Thanks, Akra.
That's my bias.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about Lord Sloth? I mean, sorry.
I'm glad you said it.
Purposefully.
On a scale from twat waffle to extra twat waffle, he is an extra twat waffle.
He's an extra
Yeah.
large twat waffle.
He is the twat waffle-est
New
twat waffle.
scale of twat waffle.
New scale.
10.
Yeah.
He is his own scale. 10 of twat waffle.
Yeah.
Solid twat waffle.
Yeah, he's 10 out of 1 on a twat waffle scale.
10 out of 1 on his own twat waffle.
He's just the twattiest of waffles.
Fuck you, Soth.
Yeah. He's just, again, if you give him that little shred of humanity, there might be a minor likability on that. A little bit of humanity in him. But nah, he's a...
Die in a fire kind of guy.
Yeah.
Disrespectfully, with all due disrespect,
Yeah.
Die in a fire. All right. Now it's time to close the crypt on this part of our conversation on Undead in D&D 5th edition. Stay tuned next time when we move on to the creatures in D&D who feel like Grim Reapers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. If you'd like to support us, we have a donate button on our website, www.itsamimic.com. And if you'd like to discuss what you've heard here today, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and at r/itsamimic. For other episodes on other kinds of monsters, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get. Like twat waffle.
Twat
assholes.
waffle. I also remembered one thing about Cora's backstory.
Ooh, what?
Irvindale.
Oh, yeah. Irvindale.
So he was an elf character gifted to me as another hot, handsome young man.
The man
Golden
we did not deserve.
Trevor energy. The man we did not deserve, but we got. Every other man at the table hated him, but all of us women were like, written for us.
And we had to kill him.
And we killed him. Yeah.
We had to. We had no choice.
Retrievers.
Yeah, he was one of the ones we had to sacrifice to move on. Yeah.
Those happy, shiny golden boys.
Yeah, he was he was perfect.
He was perfect in every
Adam did
way.
a great job writing that. He knew who we wrote that for.
I love golden retriever energy.
That was that was him also, though, giving us a glimmer of happiness and then pulling it
away
and shredding our hearts again.
This was really just how far can I push this group?
Absolutely.
Until the psychological trauma on their characters bleeds into their personal psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Adam.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
One more time with feeling.
What's more with feeling?
That's how we roll. Like how we sound like we love this.
I go to fight the fight. Still I always feel the strangest.
I mean,
nothing here is real, nothing here is right.
What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Singing the Buffy musical.
Fuck you.
It's literally called Once More with Feeling.
Fair enough.
I'm excited to delve in nostalgia on Korra.
You're gonna have to help me with some of it, to be honest with you.
Oh,
like,
God.
I took some Cole's notes, but I feel like there's gonna be like a little bit of like, I don't really remember how this went. Do you remember how it went?
Oh,
But, like,
God.
I probably should have spent like 3 hours sitting with Adam being like, hey, can you remind me of all the bullshit that Cora did? But anyways.
It's fine.
I digress. She lived a long life.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
I feel like I've heard like tidbits of things, but this'll be a treat.
That's the thing throughout, and I'll say it in our pod. Like there's been every podcast I've talked about her at one point in time,
And like little tidbits.
and little tidbits and little stories of what she's done. Her and Akra's like romantic friendship that like plummeted to the ground. Like it's we've alluded to her story, but I've never really told it from beginning to end. And I don't think I did it justice here, but there's at least enough there that people can put shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The twattiest of waffles.
Fuck you, Soth.